Hi everyone, how's everyone this week? I'm doing well. I've just been thinking about lately, and I probably haven't explained to you why I personally paint people's spirit animals and why it's so important to me. My mission to be here is helping people to create a greater connection with themselves and to understand their reality on a different level than what we're being fed through the media, other people, and that. We have a centered self, our core self, but we also have our social self. And sometimes our core self and our social self and our spiritual self gets all mixed up together. And when we don't understand each of ourselves, we can be quite removed from our core self and quite removed from ourselves. So my spirit animals is all about connection. It's either you don't need to be spiritual to enjoy them because it's also the connection with yourself. And everything we see in life, we do try to find a connection to ourselves. Everyone we interact with, we ask that question, how am I important with this person? Everything we do, how is this important in my life? Everything we see, we quickly analyze it and see how it has value for me. So in a way, if you want to find it in a simple connection, that everything we see, everything we feel and touch, our automatic instinct is to find out how it's connected with us. Is it safe for us? Or if it's good for us, or beneficial or resourceful for us. And everything we do, see, feel comes back to us. And some people operate on a deep connection and go that little bit further beyond survival and ask things, what does this mean to us? So when I paint spirit animals or create spirit animals or do spirit animal readings, I'm creating meaning for people. I'm creating a portal for people to explore these pictures, explore these experiences with their spirit animal to reawaking a new part of themselves and to ask, how is this relating to me? How is this important to me? And I believe we can do this through all art. This is why I encourage art therapy and take people through the process of art therapy, because I think visually, everything we see, we can explore ourselves within that. And I do channel a lot of things. I do believe that my spirit animals come from a greater existence and a greater awareness of our world around us. And I'm very in tune with shamanism and the stories we tell ourselves. And a lot of this plays into my life. And this is why spirit animals are so valuable for me and for others, because it helps create a connection with ourselves. And also it creates a new story for ourselves. And I believe very strongly the stories we tell ourselves is going to motivate us to either live an empowering life or a disempowering life. A fact I have come up with is that the majority of us live 90% through the subconscious life. This can shift, and the subconscious life is forever shifting. It wants new information all the time, but we have to be very honorable with what we feed it. And looking after ourselves is what we feed it. So the more positive things we feed it and encourage it, and the more magic we create with our subconscious mind and through our decisions, the more magical it's going to see the world and the more magic it's going to perceive in the world, and you're going to take greater actions. So I guess creating my spirit animal is to motivate that more positive, hero, symbolic, iconic part of your mind. And it comes back to the story. We can either be the hero of our story or we can be the enemy of our story. And I choose to be the hero of our stories. And I want to encourage people that they can be the hero of our stories. There are greater parts of their personality and their spirit, and they've got a greater family out there through their spirit animals. So they can overcome the challenges in their life. And I love hearing the stories that come back to me about how people have faced their challenges by believing in their spirit animals or working with their spirit animals. I look at the world through two lenses. I see the spiritual, otherworldly things, but I understand that we must operate on reality and see things through a lens, which is the practical, which is the grounded part of reality. I often shift between the two worlds, and that's not unnatural for me. Sometimes I don't have control of that, and sometimes I'm channeled overwhelming amounts of information that I need to cipher through. My life is very different to other people, but I believe everyone can do what I do. It's just that I've been open to this since I've been a young girl. I think when you're young, you have that decision to continue to live the life as magically as possible and to embrace things that you don't understand and just grow with it, or you can make that choice to shut down, to tune out, and just live the life that has been fed to you. Me being a little bit stirred and a little bit rebellious and a little bit magical myself, I've chose to be open to whatever life gives me. And life's presented me with this magical world where I channel a lot of information, not just for myself, but for you as well and the world. And I have great ideas of how I can encourage the world, encourage people to become, I wouldn't say better because we are a bit of everything. We have good, bad, imperfect, perfect parts of us. We are forever changing. But I guess to bring out the best in people and to learn, make people accept who they are and honor who they are and honor their gifts. So my spirit animal all comes this source that I've learnt, say, this is the source that I want to use to encourage others, to create that portal or that belief in others that they are more than themselves, that they are protected, that it's okay to be vulnerable, and also offer a new source for them to communicate to. That, like, as I said on one of my interviews, that sometimes you can't communicate to other human beings because they're not on the same level as you. But your spirit animal or your spirit animal portrait, I've had so many feedback of people using their spirit animal to actually work through challenges, to have that conversation with their spirit animal and get the answers that they want. And this is stuff that I believe that these things can offer for people, and it's actually working. And how I came up with this realization for myself is I've been doing this for myself as a little girl. I lost my mum when I was young, which I probably told a few of you. And my dad wasn't emotionally available for me because he had his own healing journey to go through. And I think it was too overwhelming for him to be able to go through that emotional journey when he had children. So I'm not going to go into the nitty gritties with that. I think most of you understand what I'm saying. But I remember one time when I was lonely, I'd create these beautiful worlds for myself, papers and papers. My room was a mess because I used to create these characters, this whole world, castle for myself. And I remember my devastation when my father picked all up the papers because he didn't understand my processes and how I dealt with feelings and burnt them all. I felt like I lost that reality that was a support system for myself that I created in my room. And I thought I was wrong for doing so because my dad didn't see the value in it. And I felt like I lost a big part of myself then when he just burnt all my pictures and I was left with nothing. But I didn't realize back then that all this was inside of me. This was my inspiration. This is my step forward. This is how I learnt to create my own reality and create something beautiful. And I remember being so sad, so sad. I was crying, my eyes were red, and I think I just ran out the back and just sort of huddled in the corner because I had so much loss about these worlds I created for myself. But I'm an artist, I'm an intuitive artist, and I continue to create. these realities. And I think that's another reason I do these spirit animals, because it's creating wisdom through me so you can learn your own wisdom through the pictures that I paint for you. And when I first got channeled to do this stuff, I thought I was a little bit mad. But then when people told me what they've achieved for themselves, was exactly my reactions to what I achieved for myself when I did it for myself. And I see these women and men that have had my paintings strive for the best lives, and that excites me. Also, another time when I've done it, because I think I've told this story a few times before, when I left home because I just couldn't handle my home life anymore. I had to sleep, I was a teenager, I had to sleep with the lights on because I was so terrified to be in the dark. I used to hold tightly to my pillow, cry myself to sleep, being scared and terrified and saying, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me, please let me be safe tonight, please don't let me be safe tonight. And this is because of I built so much emotional angst together that it created these monsters in my head. And I think I felt like I was growing up, I was over the whole creative thing, but it came back to me. And it started with a mantra that my auntie gave me. I am protected by the white light of the Lord. Nothing negative can hurt me. I spoke this every night. I spoke this a couple times every night. I spoke this whenever I was afraid. And it worked magic on me. And over time, I started developing light in my life. I started developing strength. And I started to become stronger and believe that I could overcome these. And then I felt like I needed more. So this was probably my first spirit animal that I ever drew myself. I had my spiritual family when I drew my own castle, where I was the queen of this castle and I looked after everyone. But in this reality, I created a unicorn goddess that I believed would protect my room and would not let anything nasty enter it. So I had this beautiful unicorn picture I drew myself, and I put on my top of my door, and I believed nothing could come through that, nothing could hurt me. And finally, I learned to sleep without the lights, and I felt comfortable doing that. And I believed that this unicorn was stronger than anything that was going on in my life, and it could protect me from everything. And then the light in my subconscious, my light in my spiritual aura began to switch on. I started looking for things that would help me overcome my great adversary at the time of overcoming these little thoughts or little monsters in my head. And I think there was other people that I drew unicorns for because I thought unicorns were the protectors, they were the pure. And I drew these unicorns for a lot of other people, and they too felt magic in it and were grateful for it. So I think that was my first spirit animal step. And I started looking into other aspects of spirituality too. And I think I started to really get excited about this and learning about story and how story is so important to our life, and how visual story is so important to life, and how art's so important to life, and how creativity is so important to life. So as well as being an artist, I decided to learn about the spiritual aspects of art and the therapeutical aspects of art, following art therapy. Just because I wanted my art to be not also beautiful, but I also wanted it to be very practical for people as well. And I see that it's there now. I actually did a course to work out my financials for my business and there was an exercise called a money muse exercise. And we had to meet our money muse. And having this sense of humor that my subconscious and my spirit surely has, I met my money muse. And it was really a fun experience. And we had to ask it questions like, what inspiration can come from this meeting and that? And they said, just keep drawing your animals. That's what you're good at. That's what you're here for. And people will eventually understand. And it sort of made me think that people don't understand because it's a very niche and selective group. And people need to have the background and to understand why I do this. And that's why I decided to come on. And people don't really understand the power until they own their own. I think a lot of my friends just brought one just to support me as an artist, but when they did buy one and I explained to them how to use it, their life shifted. And I guess through my own experiences of me drawing these animals, I can say my life has shifted. All I wanted to be when I was a young girl was a quiet artist sitting in a corner drawing. But look at me now, I'm an artist, I'm reaching out to people, trying to create a rustle in the world because I want people to become more in touch with themselves. I want people to become more involved in their own lives. And I want people to understand their own special intelligence beyond what we learned was intelligence. So that is why I'm doing this work, and this is why I'm reaching out to people. I want to show the intelligence through my portraitures. I want to show people that they are more than what they think they are. I want people to create dialogue with either themselves or their spirit animals, because in a way, your spirit animal is a reflection of you and your family. It's that interconnectedness of life. And I won't get too much into it, like everyone in our life is connected to us, but I have explained to us that everything that we have in our life, we need to find some sort of connection with. And that's important as well. So my whole existence doing this is to create connection with who you are and strength and encouragement to be the best in who you are. Anyway, I think I've talked for 17 minutes. Thank you for listening. I really love being able to do this for people. Have a great week and see you later. Love you all. Bye.